Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the 13th of a series of basic Python programming course. I'm Sarjun and you can call me Sarj. I'm a data scientist, a data science trainer, and a mentor to the youth. So before we start, please help me with my socials as I'm trying to reach out to as many people as possible. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, subscribe, DM, send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks. So getting back to today's session. Okay, that's it. Let's start. Today we're going to be looking at files, iterations, and list comprehension. Sorry, I wanted to say list operation. We already covered list operations, right? List comprehensions. So these are a bit more advanced, but not very advanced, right? A little bit more intermediate level kind of stuff, but it's good to learn those. Okay, so files, iterations, and list comprehensions. So you're starting off with files first. So we need to understand the basic file open method modes so that files can be accessible before they can be read or you write, and other operations can be performed by the programming software. So when there's a need to work on a file, there are a few steps. You need to open the file, you need to use the file, you need to close the file, right? The way to open the file is to use the built-in open function with the path to file and the mode parameters. The mode contains the following forms. For reading the file is codes R. For writing to a file, it's codes W. To append to a file, it's codes A. And to read and write to a file, it's codes R+. So we're going to be doing reading a file contents and writing to a file using simple methods. Okay, so let's start this basic version. Okay, let's first understand files. Okay, in this case, we're going to be doing a basic open file. So this part asks you to create a variable open file in a function. So we're going to be creating a function called open underscore file, and we're going to pass in a file, right? And then we're going to create a variable called read file, right? And that file is going to use the open function, as I said, the file parameter, and it's going to be a read option as the mode, and then you're going to print the type of this file, right? Read file, what's this type, right? And then with that said, things don't work, right? Before that, we need to understand what is the file we're going to be opening, right? So let's go into my course materials, Python. Okay, so this is where my files are. Number 13, yep, data. So this is the data. So there are two text files. You can pause the screen. The read text file has this. This is the first line, and then there's a space. There's a space. There's an empty line, and this is the next line. So this is the read file I have saved in data, and I have read text, which is this is the first line, and then the next line is this is the second line. That's it. So I have these two files saved inside a folder called data, just in the same folder as the IPYNB, the Python file, right, which is this file here. So with that shown, I'm going to read that file now. I can show it to you here. It's inside here, data. So you can see inside data here, right? So I can also see it from here as well. So just to show you, right? And then I'm going to run the open file here with the file path to the read.txt file, right? This is the first of the two files, and I'm going to run it. And you know the type of this file is called a text.io wrapper type of file, right? So we know it is a text type of file, right? But that is enough information for us to understand that we can read that file, right? So we do this def read underscore file. I don't want to put a capital F, I want to put a small f, right? I want to pass in a file name, and then I want to read file. Same, read file equals to open file with R, and then content is equals to read file. Okay, so this is the method I'm going to use. The method is called read line, right? Like this. So you will read the first line, just the first line, and return the first line, as in print the first line. That's it, right? That's what this function is doing. And I'm going to do a read file, and I pass in the file name, data/read.txt. So it should only read the first line, right? Which reads this is the first line. That's it, right? If you don't understand this, you can go here, say this is the first line. It's the same. So it's only reading the first line, right? So yep, just to make sure that that's the file and that is exactly what it is. We verified it. So Python did read the file, right? You can also, what else can you do? What else can you do, right? You can also do a read file. Let's see, and do read lines instead. So now watch for the next method I'm going to use. Def read. So this one and the earlier one is basically only one small little difference. Everything else seems the same, right? It goes to open. Here, open, file, read, and then content is now equals to read file dot read. Instead of earlier we used read line, now we're going to use read lines. Watch the S here. Read lines, and I'm going to print content. That's it, right? I can then go ahead and use this read file option or read file function and pass in my file path. As simple as that, right? When I run it, you can see that it actually reads this. So this just means the next line, right? This /n, we already know /n actually means the next line. So that's kind of like a built-in operation that it also reads in. So that's something you need to be careful about. But this just means it's going to the next line. This one just means it's empty. It's going to the next line. That's it. Right? Just like a next line command. Right? So another way, without using any functions, so how else you can read the files is using what we call a loop. So we can do something like this. For line in open, so we pass in the file directly, right? Read.txt, comma, r, okay, print. This is one of the most easiest ways. So this one you see, read line, then you space, then the next line, according to the file. Okay, so that's the simple loop. Let's now move on to open, read, and append. Okay, so we're going to assign a function, open read file, with the arguments file that provides the file path and the input that provides the content to be appended to the same file. Then assign the variable new file with the built-in open function, and then the argument file as file parameter as r plus. So the file parameter and then the r plus as the mode, sorry. And then assign the variable content with the read lines method of the new file. And they're going to insert the variable content with the len function. The content with len content. Okay, there's a lot of stuff here, but anyway, let's just follow what I'm trying to do. Okay, so def open read file. So I'm going to open read file. Okay, I'm going to pass in file, comma, input line. There's an input line that I'm going to add in as well, right? And then I'm going to create a new file, which is going to be a open file. And here it's going to be r plus. So be careful on this. It's going to be r plus. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're going to read the content. The content is basically new file dot read lines. Okay, one thing I wanted to say is that when you do a read liner earlier, which I kind of maybe skimmed through so fast, you can see that this is a list, right? This is the first line, this is the first element, second element, third element. So this is a list. Read lines returns a list. So just to be sure, read lines do that. So read lines returns a list. So let me do the read lines. So read lines, I'm going to do a content.insert, insert. Okay, I'm going to insert at the end. So basically the length, right? At the end means the length of content. So I'm going to add a line at the end, right? And I'm going to put /n to create a space. Okay, and then I'm going to do content dot insert. Same thing. I'm going to do len content. This is where I'm adding towards at the end. I'm adding a command, right? A line to the append to the end. So now new file dot. So here I'm going to write all my lines from my content onto from -2 until the end, and then new file dot close. That's it. Okay, so this is where I'm going to write all my content, and I'm going to open read file. So here I'm going to open read file data /read dot txt. So this is the file, and I'm going to this is the first parameter. The next parameter is this is the next. So 3 times line. Simple as that. Okay. I want to I'm not going to run this first because I want to show you how it comes out to be. But before that happens, right? Because if I write this, it will overwrite the file. So let me also do up let me just copy from here. Just go up and let me copy this version to read the text file, the read text file, and I paste it here so that I can also read the file and read the file simultaneously, right? So that you get exactly what you see after you edited that file. So when I run this, you can see this is the first line, there's a space, this is the next line, enter next space, and this is the next line. So if you open up the file, if you go here, if you open up this, you will notice that actually this is what is done. I've created this, I've added this line here. Earlier this line wasn't there, now it's there. I've added this line now into this code. Now if I run this again, obviously it's going to add more lines, which I'm not going to do now, right? But just to let you know, that is what it is doing. Right? You need to be careful that if you run one time, if you run multiple times, you're adding more and more times, you're adding more lines, right? Just be careful. So now, with that said, what we're going to do is you're going to do this, a quick practice. Okay, you're going to assign a variable this file with the built-in open function and the data read text.txt as the first parameter and r plus as the second parameter. Then assign the variable content with the read lines method of this file variable. Then you're going to insert something similar, /n, and then you're going to insert this line called this is the third line as the second parameter, and you're going to write lines using this file with content -2 until the end as the parameter, and then you're going to close the file, and you're going to commit the file process by reading it as well. Right, so try it out, and then we will continue soon. Okay, welcome back. Let's see how we can tackle this quick practice. So the question is asking you to assign the variable this file with the built-in open function and the data /read text.txt as the first parameter and r plus as the second parameter. So let's do that first. This file is equals to open data /read text, not text.txt, the first parameter, and r plus as the second parameter, right? And then you can do a contents equals to, let me do a content. Content is easier. Contents doesn't matter. It's up to you, your choice. This file dot read lines. So read lines returns back a list of all the different lines. Okay, but before that, you need to know what is a file. So in my data, my read text is basically this is the first line and this is the second line. So again, looking at the content, this is the first line and this is the second line. This is the text file. That's all is inside the data folder. Okay, inside the folder where my IPYNB file is. Okay, with that said, once I read this file, I can do a content.insert. So I'm using the list function. I'm going to insert a /n to move on to the next line. And once it's in the next line, I'm going to insert length at the end. So length of content means at the end, it's going to push it to the end. So this is the third line, right? And finally, once I've updated the list, now I'm going to use the content as the parameter to write the lines back to the Write the line back to the file, right? And then this file dot close. So this is how it's properly done. And then you can call back the earlier function, right? Where read file, you pass in the file and then read file, and you read and then read lines to see whether it updated this portion here. So let me run this. Yep, you get 3 values instead. This is the first line, second line, this is the line. So let's look at this file as well. Yes, it's exactly what we wanted. Yep. So yeah, so that works. Moving on, iterations. So for iterations, it's actually like a use of for loop. Right? When you use for loop, it's a more generic version. It works on any iterable object, right? But most functions have built-in methods that follow the iteration protocol. So let's look at these built-in type iterables. Okay, let's do a simple for loop to show you how for loop works, right? So let's do a for x in range 6. Print. See, why am I doing this? Why am I putting them in a bracket? Right, print x. So this is quite simple, right? You can repeat the same process, but this time I can explicitly say, I can use a list variable for x in. If I say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I do a print x. This is as simple as that as well. I get the same answer. I can also do everything in a single line, right? Something like this for x in. The same thing. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? I can do this. I can do a print x to the power of 2. Right? I can do a e and d equals to just a space between them. Yep, you get 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. Right? Okay. So as I mentioned, most functions actually have their own methods that are able to do this, right? So the readline method is actually such a function. The way it works is that the method works like a function and has a counter defined in the method, and the counter is saved within the environment variables to remember that the next reference line to read. So the first time it reads the first line, the subsequent time you'll read the next line and the next line and the next line, so on and so forth. So that's how the read line function works, not the read lines. The read lines is different from the read line, but the read line works like that. So let me show you an example how that works. We do a read file. Remember, we do a read file, we do an open. So now I'm going to read the data, read txt.txt file. And I'm going to do a content equals to read file.read line. Simple, right? And I'm going to print the content to show you what the content is. So remember, now we have 3 lines, right? Based on our last check, right? It's 3 lines. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, and I'm going to run this. You can see that the first time it reads the first line. This is the first line, and then it prints this star 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 star. Then it goes on to read file.readline. It reads the second line, which is this is the second line, and then it goes into the star 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 star. Right? Okay, moving on. There is another method that files actually have, and it's called the underscore underscore next underscore underscore method, and that pretty much functions like the readline method. So it is another way of doing it, right? It just works the same way. So let's see how we can do that. We call the read file. Again, the same thing. Open data slash read txt.txt, and then I got a message, no worries. And then it's okay. We can do a content equals to read file dot. Okay, so instead of using read line, we can do a underscore underscore next underscore underscore open bracket close bracket. So this is a method. You can use this method and you can do a print content, right? and you can do a print. Let me silence my phone. Sorry. Okay. So read content, right? And then you can do the same thing here one more time. So as I said, it works the same way as read line. And when I run this, same thing, it works. This is the first line, this is the second line. So nothing that different. It's just that that's a built-in function as well called next, right? That's another iterable. Okay, when the variable is an iterable object, there is no such functions or methods in place. You can use the iter function, and then you can use the next to call out that function. So we use a for loop first to show you how that works, right? So let me just use a for loop first. Let me do a d. Let me set a d equals to this dictionary variable. Okay, right? This is a dictionary variable with a set to 1, b set to 2, and c set to 3, right? So I can do a for keys, right? For keys, or for key, easier since it's singular, right? For key in d.keys, this shouldn't be new to you. You print key. So you're going to print ABC, and then you're going to print ABC. I'm going to print this, right? And then you run this ABC. Simple, right? But you can actually use the iter function. So what's the iter function? So let's try this again. So the iter function is basically, let me copy this dictionary variable here, and then I is equals to iter d, right? And we are going to iterate through this dictionary variable. So now the system already knows that we have passed in a dictionary variable into the iter function, and then it's assigning it to I. And then now we're going to print the type of I to show you what it is first, right? And then I'm going to print, right, star star, and then I'm going to do a print next. Next is another function, so we'll call out the next I in that I iterable, right, which is from the dictionary, and then it's going to do a print. Same, I'm just going to copy this and paste it a few times. So I'm going to do the same thing again, right? Okay, so I have 3. Yep. So I'm going to run this. I don't need the last one. Okay. You can see this is of a class dictionary key iterator. You can see the first A, B, and C. Okay, with that said, let's move on to another quick practice. So you're asked to create a list variable, which list, with values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, assign a variable I with the iter function, and this variable as argument, and then display the variable type of variable I, and then the next 3 variable I as argument. So using the next function, you're going to do something similar to what we did earlier, but we're going to use the list iterator instead. So it's going to be this, but just list instead. So you should know how to do this. Give it a try, and I'll go through it soon. Okay, hope you all tried it. Let's start this. So basically, it's quite simple. You just create a list variable called which list equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And then what we do is we just assign it with an iterable. We call it I using the iter function. We pass in which list, and we've converted it, right? Now we can print type of I, right? That's done. And then we can print, okay, to save time, I'm going to copy from the previous question because I don't want to type the same thing again. Yep. So I'm just going to print this, and that's all, right? And you can see it's of class iterator 0, 1, 2. That's it. Okay, now let's move on to list comprehension. So what's list comprehension? So list comprehension is a concise way to derive a list from another iterable object, right? There is a need for the square brackets to contain the expression, and it allows the use of if-else conditions and loops in the process. The output is of a list variable type. So let's see how we can apply list comprehension here. So let's see. So here the use of list comprehension allows for a quick way to create list variables in one-line code statements. So using for loop for a reference, let's see how we can do that. Assign a list variable series num. So series num is going to be just a blank empty list. Okay, we're going to do for I in range 1 is to 11, and I'm going to do series num dot append. I'm going to do I times, I'm just going to append I times I, right? As simple as that. I'm going to print out. So it's just going to give me a square output, right, of each variable. So 1 to 10, I'm going to get all the squares, excluding 11, right? So if you look at it, I get 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 30, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. Simple. Right, now let's do the same to get series num without using a for loop, but a list comprehension instead. So the same thing, series num, this time I'm going to put LC because this is list comprehension method. So I'm going to do a I times I for I in range 1, 11. That's all, right? So when I print series num LC, you get exactly what we want, right? Actually, I kind of jumped the gun. This is not for this. This is for the later one. So basically here it's not I for I, just I for I in range 1 to 11. Sorry, the I for I is later. I just jumped the gun here. So sorry, yeah. So it's just I for I in range. So you just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically you just copy this. So it's quite straightforward. Okay? Sorry, just quite straightforward. You just copy this and you just do I times I. You can do I times 3, I times 4. It works the same way, right? So you can do a print series num LC. That's it. So you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, sorry, 1, 4, 9, 16, 24. So it's just the square of each values you get. Yep, so yeah. Okay, moving on. What if you want to do something else with strings instead? So the use of list comprehension allows a quick way to create list variables in one-line codes, right? So you can use a for loop reference. So let me use a for loop reference to show you how I'll do it in a for loop first before I do it in a list comprehension. So let me create products with these values. And then I create a list that calls first 3 letters equals to this. And then I'm going to do for V in products, right? For V in products, first 3 letters dot append, not comma append, it's dot append, A, P, P, and D. V 0 is to 3. Simple, right? It's as simple as that. And then I can do a print first 3 letters. That's it. So I get the first 3 letters of each word in the list. Now, how is this done using list comprehension? Well, obviously it's going to be a lot simpler. So let me just copy this and paste this here. And I'm going to do the same thing. First 3 letters, LC for list comprehension version. So simple, V 0 is to 3 for V in products. That's it. That's all, right? And I print first 3 letters LC. I get exactly the same output. Okay, with that, let's see how we can do a little bit more complex version, right? We want to do a list comprehension that allows a quick way. Okay, so we're going to do a nested if else statement within the list comprehension. Okay, so it's just going to be a little bit difficult, but not very difficult. Okay, so let's create products equals to this. Okay, so these are my products, right? And how I want to set my variable discount is I set discount is equals to an empty list. And then what I want to do is I want to do a for loop for P in products. I'm going to do if P double equals to apparels. I'm going to give you discount dot append as 10. Right, my discount is 10. L if already getting tedious. P is equal double equals to, let me just indent some space here. Oh, crockeries. Okay, I want it to append dot append 15, right? Now, else, well, everyone else gets, a 20% discount. Wow, that's high, right? And then I want to print what's my discount. And you can see that for the first one is apparels is 10, second one is crockeries is 15, and the rest is 20, 20, 20. How can you do this in one line using list comprehension? So again, discount LC is equals to, very simple, 10 if P equals to, wait, before that, let me initialize the products. Even though it works, it's good practice to always initialize the products, right? It's just good practice to see what you're doing, right? So SEOUNT discount LC is equals to, what's discount LC is going to be, let's see, 10 if P double equals to APPARARELS apparels, right? And then else 15, notice this, else 15 if P double equals to crockeries, right? Else 20 for P in products. Wow. I mean, it's starting to get a bit complicated, but okay, still doable, right? So discount LC, you just print it out, and that's it. You get the same value. Okay, moving on. Let's do a quick one. Take 5 minutes, assign a list variable products with this list, and assign a list variable discount with 20 if the name of the product starts with C, else 10, then display the list variable discount LC. That's it. Take some time to do it, and we'll go through it very shortly. Okay, how do we do it? Very simple. Assign discount LC. Wait. Before that, always assign your products first. Always seem to jump the gun, so shouldn't do that. Always assign the products first. It's good practice, even though it works because it's already initiated earlier. It's better to always reference it in one cell. Good practice, good programming practice, right? Anyway, discount, and the more you type, the more you get acquainted with the codes, and how. Okay, so 20 if the first character dot upper, just to be sure, equals to C. I think you should know how to do this string manipulations. Else 10 for P in products. Simple, right? So you print discount LC, and yeah, that's all. It's only a 3-line code, 10, 20, 20, 10, 10. So the first is 10, then the second is 20, the second is crockeries and cosmetics, both have 20%, the rest all have 10. Okay, with that said, we've come to the end of this session. Till next time, see ya.